Welcome to the midnight tide, where shadows whisper, darkness hides. We're diving deep into the unknown, on a journey you're not alone. From haunted halls to specters lost, we'll guide you through the eerie frost, with tales that chill and spirits roam. A freaking awesome paranormal show. Ghostly whispers, ancient tomes, mysteries in haunted homes. Brace yourselves, it's time to go. The freaking awesome paranormal show. The freaking awesome paranormal show. Ghostly whispers, ancient tomes, mysteries in haunted homes. Brace yourselves, it's time to go. The freaking awesome paranormal show. The freaking awesome paranormal show. Welcome to the midnight tide, where shadows whisper, darkness hides. We're diving deep into the unknown, on a journey you're not alone. From haunted halls to specters lost, we'll guide you through the eerie frost, with tales that chill and spirits roam. The freaking awesome paranormal show. Ghostly whispers, ancient tomes, mysteries in haunted homes. Brace yourselves, it's time to go. The freaking awesome paranormal show. The freaking awesome paranormal show. Ghostly whispers, ancient tomes, mysteries in haunted homes. Brace yourselves, it's time to go. The freaking awesome paranormal show.
The engine is starting up.
For launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
Go pending final steps to cabin link check.
2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the Rift Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you could need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
What's up, all you freaks out there? This is Ryan.
And this is Rhonda.
I almost forgot to turn the cameras on for a second. I was like, what am I doing?
What am I doing?
It's been a week. Oh, it hasn't been a week yet. It's been a day, 2 days.
It has been a day. I think there's just something in the atmosphere. It's been crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called summer. Not even summer yet. It's still spring. Although it's been nice. It's been nice.
It has not been. Yeah, it has not been typical summer around here.
It's still only early June.
Yeah.
So we still have time for the humidity to come out, but I'll say this, I'm not missing it.
No. It was actually a little cool this morning.
Yeah, it was. I actually went to take the dog out, and I had my my jacket on. And I'm like, I'm not gonna need it. I'm gonna get outside. It's gonna be super hot. Of course, I get outside and it was chilly, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. Let's see.
Irene
is in the middle of a hurricane.
Wow.
I mean, that's dedication.
Heard about that going on out there.
Are they? I guess they're hurricanes. What's the difference between a hurricane and a typhoon?
I don't really know.
Let's look it up. What's the difference?
I am not for sure.
We're gonna learn some shit today, guys.
Yep.
It's not paranormal.
If y'all know, feel free to put it in the chat. Hello, Chaos Theory Paranormal. Hello.
What's up, Chaos Theory? Okay. A typhoon and hurricane are scientifically the exact same weather phenomenon, a tropical cyclone. The only difference is where they are in the world.
Okay.
So hurricane used when storms forms in the North Atlantic Ocean or the Northeast and Central Pacific Ocean, typically U.S., Caribbean, Central America. Typhoon used for storms that form Northwest Pacific Ocean, typically East Asia, including Japan, the Philippines, and China. So It is a typhoon.
Who knew?
That's going on.
Today we know. What?
Yes. The more you know.
The more you know.
So we're educating you guys.
Exactly.
Hopefully you don't lose power, Irene.
Yeah. That's one good thing is if you're in the hurricane and you can do something to like occupy your mind while that's happening.
Yeah, hopefully we can entertain you while you're going through all that.
Yeah.
Even twice a year. We didn't have very many. I don't think we had any hurricanes last year.
Wow.
To be honest. I mean, we don't have hurricanes. We're in Richmond. But I mean, like.
Yeah, we get one like every 20 years.
Yeah.
Up this way, hits us enough. By the time it gets us, it's usually a tropical depression or tropical storm. Every 20 years or so, we get one they call a hurricane.
What was the one we had? Was it Isabel? Right, Isabel.
Yes.
That one. Yeah, I remember. I was
some havoc.
Yeah, and thing is, like when people get hit by hurricanes like really hard, their whole life was ruined, like destroyed. We got hit by barely anything. I mean, our power was out for a while, but not as bad as it could have been.
No, when Isabel came through, I believe that's the one where I'm at. We lost power for 12 days.
I mean, the hurricane. Yeah, we lost power for a long time. I remember going
to the office. We had showers. We had showers where I worked, and I remember going to work to take a shower.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. RJ's really into tornadoes. That's what his big thing is. Into tornadoes.
And hey, up? Paranormal
Chaos. Well, this is going to be a fun show tonight.
Yeah, it is.
We have got Luann Joly back, and we had her on before. Had her on again. Had so much fun with her that I figured we need to have her on for a third time. Talk about some
absolutely.
evidence she has captured. But before we do that,
Yeah.
we need to know
How to live our lives.
lives.
I mean, this week. See, look,
Yes.
that is my day. Do we need to know for how we do it this year? And here it is
This year.
for the week. For
I'm gonna let the dog
the
in.
week.
Scratch me at the door.
Let's look at that. It's met. Lord, it's been a day, y'all. That full moon energy is piping. All right. Let me properly shuffle these and we'll find a card. That was not a shuffle, that first one I did. I don't even know what you'd call that. All right, let's see what we got. All right. What does the collective need to know for the next week? Okay. All right. That's interesting. So we got the Diamondback Rattler. And it says speed, primal power. Primal power. So I'm going to pull one to go along with that. And we got the Highway. And the Highway says journeys, self-discovery, choices. So when I look at these together, let me see how I'm feeling about this.
Is he frozen?
Okay, so I am really feeling like with the Highway, with its journey, self-discoveries, and choices, and the Diamondback Rattler, which is speed and primal power, I think this goes to me as that, words have power. And words can be, when we think before, when we're quick to speak, and not maybe think first, but react, much like a snake will. A snake reacts to what it feels like is a threat or something coming at them that's like to make them unsafe. I think we do that a lot with our words when we feel like we're, not in a, when we feel like we're being attacked or we feel like we need to defend ourselves in some way. And the Highway just is a journey in self-discovery and choices. So I think what this is really telling me for this week is watch your words, watch how you react to things. You have the power within yourself to really hurt people's feelings. You hear all the time that like you can apologize, but sometimes the words don't go away no matter what. You always hear what that person said, even if you forgive them for it. And we're our own worst critic. So I think as you're trying to get to know yourself, have a little grace for other people and just be very, very cautious of how you lash out when you feel like someone is attacking you or you feel like you need to be on the defense. Because I really feel like most of the time we don't need to be. And usually if we step back for a minute and think about what's being said to us, it's not a personal attack. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not truly a personal attack. So just be careful how you react to things, because those kind of things do have consequences.
Very good advice.
Yeah.
Paranormal 6801. His name is Josh. He's been on the show before a couple of times. And actually watched a YouTube like haunted like highlights, ghost highlight video. One of his videos that he showed to me while him on the show when he was a security guard was actually on that video of him like as a security guard and like
yeah.
And he was like hearing like freaking kids in the mausoleum like playing.
That's wild.
And that's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool because I was like, I know that guy. I know him. Holy shit.
Well, maybe we need to have him back on.
Yeah, man. For sure. Yeah, she's a good dog, but she's a pain in the butt. And Angie and the kids are gone, so I'm the only one here to take care of them. her.
Ah, so you're the only one who could give her attention.
Yes, and she's on. She's like constantly there, like like all the time. It's like if I'm sitting on the couch, she's underneath me, so I have to like step over her so I don't step on her.
Kevin said, even if it's a personal attack, we can react better and change the situation. That is true. That is true because I found that when somebody truly is trying to attack me in some sort of way, be either attack my character or just lash out, when you don't give that back to them, you can almost see them sometimes like look like they don't know what to say or do because you're not giving them what they were trying to get back from them. So
yeah, exactly.
Oh, and Teresa's like, hurry it along. I'm ready to hear some evidence.
We are excited too, guys. We are excited to have.
Said, move it along, people. I'm waiting to hear evidence.
What are you guys doing here? Come on. Don't have all day. And because Luann is such a great guest, the audience definitely wants to hear from her. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Luann on. Hopefully, we have better luck.
Yeah,
we did last week with the haunted foodie, but we'll try her again in a few weeks. What is up? How are you? Welcome back.
Good. How you guys doing?
Good.
Well, we're here, of course. Super excited to be talking to you again.
Awesome. Freaking awesome. Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I spend a lot of money on technical items, for my everything that I do on the paranormal team. And today I found out that my extended hard drive is not readable by Windows anymore. So there's like 20, 30 years of stuff on this hard drive that I can't get to. I'm going to have to take it to a tech or something, but I was successful in sending you at least a few interesting EVPs I thought you'd enjoy, and hopefully, we'll be able to hear them very well this way. That's all. That always comes into my concern, and it's why I actually do the EVP the way that I do it. I wrote a book called Dead Whispers quite a few years ago, and it includes an audio CD with it. And what I did while I was working on the EVPs was I took, people that I know, friends, family, and one of the people was actually hard of hearing. So what I did was I experimented a lot with helping, the average Joe on the street to be able to hear the EVP. And a lot of people really don't like it when you suggest what the EVP says. But, so many people don't do this. And they're interested in what we're doing out in the field. So, giving them a little bit of a helping hand and helping to highlight what the EVP is saying. You'll notice when you start listening to some of these EVPs that, the first part of the EVP is completely how I recorded it. And then there'll be like a little moment of silence, and then just the EVP itself repeats 3 times. And I found that was actually the best way to present it to people. And even the person hear most of the EVPs this way. So, for some people, maybe it's a little unorthodox. And actually, like every now and then I'm wrong too. I do this a lot, and sometimes someone will listen to the EVP and say, I don't think that's what it's saying. And they'll tell me what they think it's saying. And funny, sometimes they're actually right. I'm not infallible, of course, but, I do take a lot of pride in my EVP. It's, something that I was actually surprised that I'm really good at. You know, I've always been kind of an amateur photographer, and I like to take pictures and things like that. So I thought I'd get out there and, take millions of pictures of ghosts and stuff like that and quarter as a gift. And that was probably one of the best gifts I've ever been given in my life, because I really found what I do best, I guess, is EVP.
Mm.
Wow.
One of my
Yeah, I mean,
favorites for sure.
I don't think it's I don't see anything wrong with letting people know what you hear when you do an EVP. I don't think it's like, I do it all the time. If I hear something, I'll tell someone this is what I heard. So I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. How is to ask about the snap? When you go to an investigation, have you ever heard like an energy pop during an investigation, like a small, like, I don't know, like almost like an energy snap or like a little popping sound during an investigation?
Actually, I found that a lot of time, I'm the founder, so I'm kind of everybody's boss, which I try not to be that way, and to all of my team's ideas, but I do kind of have to oversee things a lot. So I think little things like that, but I can't really count how many times there's a little snap or a little pop right before an EVP occurs. And also, a lot of times, strange detectors that I use, and one of them, well, actually, two of them measure radioactivity. And we're not talking about like Chernobyl type radioactivity. We're talking about very small increments of radioactivity. Um, and a lot of times, either you'll hear that pop right before an EVP happens or right after, or it will set off one of the radioactive meters, and I'll hear it in the recording. It'll go off either right before the EVP happens or directly after it happens. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And, if you think about it, and this is going to get a little deep, we live in a world where we see solid things, a tree, a building, a car, a table. But what we don't put into perspective is what's happening on, the tiny cellular level where, there's a coffee table in front of me right now, and it's solid. I can knock on it. I can trip and hit my knee on it all the time, things like that. But when you get down below to like the smallest levels, all the atoms are moving. They're constantly in motion. Everything around us is really very fluid, um, when you look at it in that way. And, to me, the spirits aren't exactly on the same wavelength as we are, if that makes, for them to be able to come through and speak to us, or be able to come through and appear to us, visually where we can see them. I think they're kind of transgressing into our environment. So in order to do that, there's molecules and atoms and things that are being displaced when paranormal activity happens. So, to hear a sound like that, is that telling us that, they are coming through on a molecular level, blah, blah, molecular level, spit that one out. But, you know, I've had a lot of time to think about these things. You know, I really do think that something on a very small, tiny, what we don't even think about all the time. We're going down to, you know, atoms and molecules and even the air around us. You know, we can't see it, but those atoms are moving all the time and together again. I really believe that there's tiny little wormholes. And when paranormal activity happens, you know, I haven't really come to a complete decision, but do they open up a wormhole and that's how they come through to us, as you say? Or does this little wormhole happen naturally and they find their way through it to communicate with us?
That's some deep questions.
Yeah.
That's Howie's like I like her.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's definitely Howie level Howie level of talking here because he's all into all that stuff. Because we investigated a house in Virginia here. We definitely got some of the snaps during our investigation. I have one question here before we get going. My friend Josh asks, "What is the most common EVP you catch?" And then we'll start with the actual EVP.
Usually my name. I can't count how many times that they say my name or hi Luann or a few Luann or you know, that is definitely one of the more common EVPs that I get, and it feels strange because I can enter a place that I've never been in before or had to travel to get hearing my name all the time. You know, it makes me wonder, how do they know that? You know, do they listen to the other investigator? Do they know I'm coming? You know, am I known in the spirit world somehow? But strangely, it is actually my name. Swears, but
Well, I get plenty of those for sure.
Oh yeah.
I've had people tell me that before they come to a location that without even really knowing anything about it, they have dreams about it.
Oh yeah.
You know, and maybe that's what it is. Like the spirits come to them in dreams. So maybe the spirits do know that you're coming, and they do know who you are.
Well, another like weird deep thought again. I guess tonight is the night for deep thought. Over the years, I've looked into research, thought about the string theory, and how everything is connected to everything. And that sort of, I've had a lot of prophetic dreams in my life or precognitive dreams where I see events that haven't happened yet. And, you know, some of them, like I was 8 years old and then it happened, you know, 9 years later, 10 years later. So, you know, I think we talked about that, the whole deja vu thing, and how some doctors think that people have deja vu because they're having a seizure, like room, and you see everything in front of you, but then you have this little seizure that kind of makes your mind or your brain click back, and then it comes back into the present. This is happening. The seizure makes you skip back in time a couple seconds, and then you only think that you saw it before. But, for me, it's pretty impossible, because a lot of the dreams that I've had didn't happen until years later. So, what did I have, a 10-year seizure or something? It doesn't make sense. I remember these things happening, but if you think about it, if everything is connected by strings and everything is connected to everything, then that means that the future is connected to the present, and the present is connected to the past, etc. So, is it possible to, somehow when you're asleep and you're connected to strings from the future? Or, some people have visions while they're awake. Are they having an occurrence where, and I'm still kind of open to the seizure. Possibly, are we having some kind of a small seizure from the strings that are connecting us right now to the present, a future string, and then come back? It's mind-boggling sometimes, these deep thoughts. But
Yeah, I
the
mean,
experiences that I have to keep an open mind.
definitely a big rabbit hole that we could travel down and do all these different theories about deja vu and all that stuff. But you know what I want to do? I want to listen to some EVPs. That's what I want to
do. It.
So the first one we have here is I'm going to go up. So the first thing I'm going to do is the one called Entity. All right.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to play it and then I'll let you explain it. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. Let me see here.
Not welcome here.
I'll play it again. Here it is. One more time.
Welcome here.
I can almost hear an accent. And when it says entity, it's entity.
Yeah.
Almost like an English accent to it.
Yeah. New England. That's a New England accent if I ever heard one. That actually was taken in my own home that I live in today. And I had one of the research projects for a long time is in a place called the Freetown State Forest. And it was during the late 1970s to early 1980s. Is the local satanic cult was performing rituals. They actually stole a skull out of a mausoleum, and it's reported that they were drinking blood from this. Murdered 3 women, ritualistic killings, and one of the victims, named Karen Marsden, she was trying to turn state witness against the cult because she had seen some of the horrific things that they had done. But the cult found out about it. So they murdered her in probably the most terrible way that I've ever heard of. After they were done beating her and stoning her, they tore her head from her body and then raped her throat.
Oh my gosh.
In the world.
And the only way that they could identify her body was through some skull fragments that they found on a couple of the perpetrators. Was her body still has never been found, so I don't know if it's actually still in the Freetown State Forest, but we big interest in the more negative things, and unfortunately the Freetown State Forest is right down the street from my house.
Didn't you wasn't there a show like this forest is haunted or something like that? So I remember
There's been a few shows.
Were you on one?
One of them I think was called Fall River. Well, I've done a few shows that kind of touched upon that. There's also it's called the Bridgewater Triangle documentary, and it was done by a local filmmaker, and he actually did a really great job, because a lot of times, like even with the Fall River show that they did, that spoke a lot about these cult murders, they kind of put their own twist on it. They said that it was all satanic panic, and they thought cults were everywhere, and unfortunately there were a lot of people running around calling themselves cults. And these particular people that were doing these things in the Freetown State Forest were calling themselves a cult. Realized some of them were prostitutes, some of them were pimps. There's actually a lot of data on that case. With the Bridgewater Triangle documentary, he didn't try to put his opinion or his thoughts on what really happened. He basically let the witnesses tell their own stories. Mm-hmm. And it does cover a lot. It covers the cult murders. It covers puck wedgies, which are kind of a legend around here. Sorry, lose my voice. There's UFO reports, things like that. So it's kind of a mixed bag. But what I like about that particular documentary, and not just because I'm in it, is that he didn't try to tell you. And a lot of the documentaries that are about the cult murders, these guys were a cult. They were worshiping Satan. They were doing rituals in the woods at night. They were stealing body parts from mausoleums, and they murdered 3 women, and ritualistically did it. They stoned them to death and, raped their carcasses. And, if that's not a cult, I don't know what is. But it's an extremely rich point. If you live a few miles away from it, you can't trying to document what's going on out there, because it's not just the cult murders. There were other people murdered out there. There were bodies left there. People have committed suicide. There's a part of the forest that's called the Ledge, and back in the early 1900s, it was actually a quarry. And the quarries keep digging.
Luann.
What was that?
Luann, I think we need to have you back on again to talk about this, the cult murders, because I don't want to just relegate it to a section of the show. I think this needs to be a whole other show that we can get
blowing
into.
Your minds.
We could be talking
for
3 hours on one EVP, which I love you, but
we still have 5 more.
yeah. So, I'm just going to say we'll get into that, really a deep dive into that, because of everything that happened in that forest is fucked up.
Yeah.
So I think we spend more time with it and not just,
you don't. Well, To put a long story short, I had investigated in the Freetown State Forest where all these terrible things have happened. Home one night. It was an extremely difficult night because something was attacking one of my girls while we were there, and we ended up. I helped her. I took care of her, and we ended up leaving early that night. And I think I was so worried about her that, something dark from the forest was messing with her, that I didn't protect myself well enough. And things started happening. There was one time I'd had dinner with my son and his girlfriend, and this plate, first it started rattling on the countertop, and then it came flying across the house and smashed into a million pieces. Strange, awful things started happening in my home. So, after quite a few experiences, and my son was having experience to investigate my own home, which is something that I don't, I live here, open up everything, because as it is, I already have enough ghosts coming in without inviting them in.
Yeah.
But that particular, I seem to have always had a little girl in my home. And we're going back, and I've seen her, I've heard her audibly, and that particular night when we were doing the investigation, warning me that yes, there is an entity in your home. And that is one of many EVPs that I host, and one of them, which I didn't feel like it was the best quality to maybe include it, but there was one night where my son and his girlfriend were watching TV in his room, and all of a sudden they just started screaming. I'm reading my book, and they start screaming, and they came into my room, and they were both wet, and they were like, water just came out of nowhere and sprayed all over us. And I'm like, yeah, right. You guys had a cup of water in there or something that spilled on you. So I go into the room looking for reasonable explanation. There were no water bottles, no cups with water. I couldn't even find a wet spot. So me thinking, well, let's see what's in the house, I grab my recorder and I run into the room, and I sat telling the thing, it's not welcome here, go away, I'll bless this home and you will be forced to go away, don't make me do that. And I audibly heard your mom, scratchy, nasty, kind of demonic voice, you're mine. And I was like, I just heard that, like my recorder, like straight to my computer, and listened back. And sure enough, it was telling me you're mine. Like it thinks that, yeah, I don't know.
That's
but
creepy.
I did actually have the Reverend come in, yes, from that particular time. Some of them are perplexing. I did have my house formally blessed by the Reverend that I've been working with for several years, and things were quiet a long time, but it's the life of a ghost magnet. They love me. There's not really a time that I can remember where there isn't something going on. If I'm not seeing things, hearing voice. Maybe I'm schizo, but a lot of these things I've recorded for, the proof, the evidence. And sometimes it's for myself, because I grew up thinking I was nuts. I was hearing voices, I was seeing things. I saw Native Americans in the woods behind my house, and something was attacking me in the night and scaring the bejesus out of me. So, I knew mental illness in my family. I must be nuts. And, when I was older, and probably in my early 20s, other people started telling me of their experiences in my house. And friends were afraid to come over. They didn't know if something paranormal was going to happen. And that's really what set me on the whole paranormal investigation. Well, I'm not crazy. Other people are seeing and experiencing the stuff I do. So I have to document this stuff. And that's where all these, I probably there's thousands of EVPs on the hard drive I can't access. But, it's 20, 30 years of work out there. But yes, I think that little girl was warning me that there was definitely an entity in my house, but I pretty much already knew that at that point.
Yeah, Howie was saying that you guys had a guest on, Michelle, and she had problems with her house in West Virginia, had kind of the same deal. I'm going to go ahead and play the entity one more time for the guests after hearing the story, and then we're going to move on to Screamer after that. So play entity one more time. Then we're going to move on to the Screamer EVP. So here it is.
You're not welcome here.
Yep, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the Screamer EVP.
Oh boy, be prepared.
I'm ready.
We already have
I'll play it one more time. All right, so I need some explanation here, Luann.
He's still talking, jerk. Yeah. I think we touched upon this on one of the other episodes that we did. This location is actually signed a non-disclosure, so I can't ever say where it came from. But it's about 2 blocks from Lizzie Borden's. Trying to make it short, but I've always felt like be a little more going on than just Lizzie Borden, because you've got a skeleton in armor that was buried, a stone's throw from Lizzie's house. We touched upon that before, I believe.
Yep, we did.
And then there was the murder and suicide of Eliza Darling Borden and two of her children in a house that sat kitty corner from Lizzie Borden's. Then, and what I think the CVP is related to, and it took, I think it was 3 or 4 years at the time, named Debbie. And she called me one day, like, I think I got it. And she started showing me this this report of a murder of Sarah Marie Cornell by her Reverend Ephraim K. Avery. And we'll never really know exactly what happened, but she was pregnant. And it was probably the minister's child. And a lot of people believe that maybe she had come forward to her reverend and asked him for help supporting the child. She was a mill worker. There are actually books. The Minister and the Mill Worker is one of them off the top of my head that relate the whole case. And there is a lot to that case, so I can't really say all of it, but she was dragged through the street for there were reports of a woman in distress for 45 minutes. It's actually reported in the police records. And she was found hanging with her knees in the snow. You can't hang yourself that way. If your knees are in the snow, you're not hanging. You can get up and save yourself. But, they did actually rule it a suicide in the beginning. But then when her friends, which they were also mill workers, started preparing her body for burial, they noticed that her arm was broken. There were big, huge handprints on her hips, and bleeding down there. Someone actually tried to remove the baby from her womb. She was about 4 months pregnant at the time. And after the ladies started talking, they eventually disinterred the body, is what they called it back then. And they did rule it a murder. But, this Reverend Ephraim K. Avery had a lot of people on his side, and many people, testified that he couldn't possibly have murdered her. He was with them the whole time. And, so her murder was never actually solved. But, why is there this area in Fall River around the Lizzie Borden house where murder-suicides happen, axe murders happen, dragging a woman, with the Curse of Lizzie Borden, it's kind of, not really sad, but does make you, there possibly an entity there that's been there for a long time and makes people do things that they normally wouldn't do. I don't know Ephraim K. Avery. I do know a lot about the Lizzie Borden case. And, I've said it before, I really don't think she murdered her parents. But could an entity jump in her body and make her kill her parents? And we've spoken about, the blood and how hard it would have been to get off her body before people actually arrived in the home. But John Morse was staying in the house overnight. Maybe the entity jumped into him, abilities. But, there are locations, and I think we touched on the station fire last time, and I mentioned that, 100 people got killed in that fire in one night. You look back to the 1600s and come forward in time, there's several, starting with a Wampanoag village being burned out. You know, we ask ourselves all the time when we go to an investigation, is this house haunted? What was on this land before? Is the land haunted? You know, there's just so many possibilities with that. But that particular EVP, I truly believe that it probably is Sarah Maria Cornell who was murdered. And you notice I didn't, when I repeated it 3 times at the end of the EVP, I didn't include the screams because they're horrifying. I mean, imagine me sitting at my desk and I put on my headphones, and within the first, you can even hear us in the background. We're not really even paying attention. We're figuring out where we're going to set up our equipment. We just started for the night, and like a minute, these blood curdling screams. For God's sakes, my headphones popped off my head. They were that loud.
That was really creepy to hear.
Yeah, when you listen to that, I had to actually, like most EVP, you have to amplify them up to help people hear them better. That EVP is the only EVP in my life that I've ever had to de-amplify because it was so loud. And then at the end, the man, who are you? Leave. So is that Reverend Ephraim K. Avery?
I didn't hear that part.
And you don't hear that at the end? Who are you?
I was listening for. I probably thought it was one of you guys. I heard the screaming. That's all I heard. What do you think it's saying? The screaming. Do you think it's saying anything, or what do you think it's saying?
There are points where a lot of people have listened to it think that there's an "I love you" in that.
Yeah, people in chat have said that too.
Yeah, and you know, was she in love with him? I hope not, because the things that I've read about him, he had a home in Fall River, and he used to interview young girls in his back office under the stairs. There was a desk and a bed. And when he closed the door to interview those girls, he was not to be disturbed. So with Sarah Maria Cornell, she was a woman who had fallen from grace at a young age, because I think she was 15 years old, and she stole a piece of lace. And she actually returned the lace. She paid for the lace and apologized for stealing the lace. But even so, she was discommunicated from her church. So she really wanted to be part of the church again. Did she have sex with the reverend to, you know, come back into grace and be brought back into the church? Which that's a pretty horrible way to do it. But, you know, women didn't have a lot of opportunities back then. If you didn't have a husband who, you know, fed and took care of you and didn't beat you, you were lucky. You know, there's a whole story behind Sarah Maria Cornell, but she really didn't have anybody. She was a mill worker. So she went from town to town and worked at the mills while the water was.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yes,
Yeah, you're back.
A lot of people don't realize it, but you know, you didn't just sign up at a mill and work there forever. If there was a drought in the area and the river ran too low to run the wheels that ran the whole mill, then you moved on to the next city and got a job where the water was still running. So she kind of had a nomadic life.
What's up,
And,
dude?
you know, it wasn't easy for her. So for her to get back into the church, did she have sex with Ephraim? Was it rape? You know, we'll never know, but she was pregnant. And, you know, I actually read a doctor's report that she had syphilis.
Oh.
I don't know if it's true or if it's something that he said to protect this minister who had a lot of influence, or did the minister give her syphilis? You know,
I mean, if all those girls that he's been interviewing underneath the stairs, man, you don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Tough to know for sure.
Yeah, and back then it really was a man's world. You know, an unmarried woman didn't have many choices.
This is true. All right. I'm going to play the Screamer one more time, and then we're going to go to, why don't you go F yourself? So we'll play the Screamer, and I'll listen for the Who Are You Leave part of it, and then we'll play the next one.
We already have
Wow, that was creepy. All right, here is Why Don't You Go F Yourself?
I'll take my legs up again.
I heard that. Holy
I
shit.
heard that too.
One more time, just in
No
case.
doubt on that one.
Yeah, no doubt about that, but we'll play it one more time.
I'll take my legs up again.
So who'd you piss off, Luann, to have him say that to you?
I didn't piss it off. That's actually a friend of mine named Tim. And I'm not sure if he even still does it, but he was running a they used to do a lot of events and stuff at the Lizzie Borden house. And that particular night we were all on our own, just the crew of the radio show, which was 3 guys, myself and one of my girls from the team, Gabby. And there's this weird thing that happens on 3rd floor in the oh geez, that's the John Morse room, they call it, I believe. I think. No, that's actually Hosea Knowlton room is the 3rd floor. Some people call it the chimney room because there's a chimney that comes up right in the middle of the room. Who is lay down on the bed with your legs hanging over, and something would grab your legs, and I have actually experienced this myself, and lift them up. It didn't actually lift my legs up, but it clamped onto my pants so that you could literally see the handprints in my pants. And unfortunately, we were filming this. But at the time, infrared isn't what it is nowadays. So you can't actually see my pants clamped around my legs. But on that particular night, it was Tim on the bed, and it was actually lifting his legs up, but then it stopped. And that's where you hear him, will you pick up my legs again? And it answers, why don't you go fuck yourself? So, that and quite a few other not so friendly EVPs, or some that are kind of a little too friendly EVPs that have occurred in the Lizzie Borden house are part of the reason that I believe that there has been an entity in that house for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was there at the time of the murders or not, or if it's a product of so many people going into the house and wanting paranormal activity to happen and asking it to happen. Did something come in and kind of make itself at home there? But it's almost like the question, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which came first, the murders or the entity? So, because
there might be some stuff there during what happened with Lizzie, but I also think when people bring their energy to a location and they're looking for stuff to happen, it may be an attractant to other stuff to come in.
Exactly.
So I mean, I think it's possible that people putting that energy out there, saying, "Hey, is anybody here? Anybody want to talk to me?" and stuff like that. People, maybe a spirit, like, "Oh yeah, I'll talk to you," even though it's not even really attached to the location. They don't care.
Exactly.
Just let themselves in. That's why they talk about the Ouija board. Like, make sure you're safe and you close the board up because you don't know who you're talking to. Same thing happens when you do an EVP. You don't know exactly who you're going to be talking to. They could be saying, "I'm Lizzie," and it could be something completely different.
You got that right. That's one thing I've always questioned. I have some great EVPs that I think could be Lizzie, but I also know there's something negative in there. Does it pretend to be Lizzie? Does it pretend to be Andrew? You really can't differentiate sometimes. And the weird thing is, quite a few EVPs, when you reverse them, say something totally different from the EVP that you recorded. And I think we've spoken about this before.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the EVPs that can be reversed are most likely from negative entities. And I think we spoke about the case that I had that they made a haunted episode about. And actually, I remember the name. It's House of Nightmares. I told the entity in that house, it touching her, being sexual with her, to the point where a few times she thought it was her husband getting in bed with her, and it wasn't. There was no one there. I tell that entity, plain and simple, she does touch her. And he said, too bad for her, Luann. And then when you reverse it, it says, Luann, let's fuck. Like, sing song.
Yeah, okay.
I think we talked about it.
That was in the first episode, and we gotta stay focused on this.
Oh God, you know me, I'll go forever.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff is in the first one. But going back to the go fuck yourself, So that was on the same room where your legs get lifted up.
Yep, the chimney room.
Okay.
And there's actually, I don't remember the show, but you might be able to find it on YouTube, Lizzie Borden camera moves. And you see my legs in that clip because we have an infrared camera in the room on the toy box. And we're sitting there kind of talking in the hallway with the monitor in there. And all of a sudden the camera moves to the side. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? So I go in and I start, how the heck did this camera move? It's taped down, it couldn't just fix the camera view. And as soon as, boop, it turns again right on my legs and a couple other people that were standing with me while I did this. So, that can be room, or Hosea Knowlton, who was an attorney. But, we'll wish I could be in the Lizzie Borden house every week because it's
so many
just
questions
one of
to
those
that case, for sure.
places. Yep. I'd
All right,
love to answer them.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe spirits will give more answers through time and stuff. So I'm gonna play Why Don't You Go Fuck Yourself Again? Sorry, F yourself again. But then we got to go through these pretty quick. These next three, pretty quick. So here's this one.
I'll take my legs up again.
All right, this one I like because this one is I'm a Good Daughter, and I heard this one during the Curse of Lizzie Borden episode.
Yep. It's even got the Fall River accent. It's not daughter, it's daughter.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell, you can hear the pleading, like, that's coming through through that EVP. I'm a good daughter. And it's super clear too.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it's not the quality that I get now with modern equipment that I've come to, but I've always thought that could possibly be Lizzie. But the weird thing about it is if you reverse that EVP, like if you have equipment to do that, listen to it. In reverse, it says, "My daughter was raped," and it's got that same intensity and declaration. So is it Lizzie? Is it the entity? More questions than answers, which a lot of the EVPs tend to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Like guys, if you guys get a chance, go check out the Curse of Lizzie Borden, because Luann talks about the room. Remember, you took who were you in there with? Dave, and you did the whole sitting in the bed, your legs lift up thing. You talked about that, and the I'm a Good Daughter EVP was on there as well. So it's on Discovery Plus and HBO Max. So, and we talked about it.
I didn't know that.
We talked about it in length. Yeah. We talked about it in length on on the previous show. So I do suggest go back and listen to that show, and to hear all about the Curse of Lizzie Borden, because that's a really interesting show. I'm gonna play "I'm a Good Daughter." I'm losing my voice here. I'm gonna play "I'm a Good Daughter" one more time, and then we're gonna go into "Can't Change Life." Can't change life. Is that what it says? Can't change life. I guess, yeah. All right, this is "I'm a Good Daughter." Here we go. Now it's playing. And here is "Can't Change Life."
That's a good one. That is from a place called the Quikasham Club. And I'm not sure if they're still open as a club, dinner restaurant type place like they were when we investigated it. I can tell you, I was the only female in that night. And you can hear me talking in the background while and strangely, it's a few blocks away from Lizzie Borden's house in Forever. And somehow all of those spirits kept referring to Maria, Sarah Maria Cornell. It is known that most of the people who knew Sarah actually called her Marie or Maria. So again, these places in Fall River, they're like within blocks, and somehow they keep relating to each other. You know, I know that Sarah was dragged through the streets of Fall River the night she was murdered. And the possibility is that, you know, there were talks of there being a brothel on the third floor, which we later discounted because the third floor was actually used for the servants, because the Quikasham Club was a gentleman's club. It was built in, I believe, 1897, if I remember right, but right around the time of the murders. You know, how did they all relate to each other? How did these spirits come through knowing about all these other spirits? And there's a good piece of video. And you know, I don't usually look at orbs. There's a lot of, you know, requirements to consider an orb, but some friends of mine, a team called Dartmouth Anomaly and Research Team, I think it stands for, in Dartmouth, Mass. They had invited me to come in because they had heard that there was a brothel on the third floor, and they thought maybe having a female come in to relate with the female spirits would help. But it's really interesting because there's this video and I'm in the frame, and you can see all of these orbs, these pieces of dust going with the flow of the air. It's picking these up. And then that goes against the stream of all the other orbs, this little round glowing ball. And as it passes by, knocks my ponytail over. Like you see my hair literally move when this thing is that, I didn't get to see this the night that we were investigating. I saw it later. But the weird thing was that I kept thinking I was catching my hair on stuff because I swore it kept kind of like tugging. So I'm wondering if I had been in the frame more, if you would have seen my hair moving like that. But, it's a weird thing. And after like a lot of years of doing this, I do think that there are possibly land masses that have a particular trait that helps or gives energy to the spirits. There's in my area there were a lot of mills back in the day, and there's are we over? I'm still talking.
Yeah. We had with chaos theory, paranormal. We do respond to when you guys are chatting, but we try not to talk over the guests while they're talking. Paranormal 6801 says, "I'm a good daughter. Maybe I didn't do it, Father."
Oh yeah, that's possible.
And maybe she's trying to explain to her dad that she wasn't the one who did it.
Yeah. Good point.
But yeah, we like I said, we do comment. We do try to go through our guests, our audience. We just gotta make sure that we don't talk over our guests at the same time. So my wife's dying to go investigate there. I think a lot of people are excited to investigate up there, especially with all the stuff you're talking about.
Yeah.
With everything that's been going on up there. The whole Fall River community with the forest, what happened with the Reverend Lizzie Borden. There's like a lot of shit that's going on up there. But
welcome to New England.
Tell you what, I thought Virginia was bad. Shit. I'm gonna go ahead and play the Can't Change Life one again, and then I will play Carl Drew. That's the last one we have for tonight. Luna heard that dog barking.
Luna heard my dog bark.
He popped up. She's like, "What's that?" She's growling over here. She's saying popped up like 3 years. Like,
sorry.
Into the window. So yeah, that's interesting. So we have Carl Drew. Now, Luann, I'm asking you a favor. All right. Let's not keep it below 45 minutes. This explanation, okay? Can you do that? Okay. All right.
Yeah, paranormal. That was my dog barking, and I have no idea what. And apparently Ryan's dog heard her.
Yes, yeah. And she perked up for sure. Here we go.
Who's Carl Drew? Did Carl Drew kill those girls?
I'll play that one again because that one's kind of hard to hear.
Yeah.
Who's Carl Drew? Did Carl Drew kill those girls?
I hear a dog. And me too.
A little loud.
Yeah.
I hear a couple of them.
All right. So who is Carl Drew?
Carl Drew was considered the ringleader of the Freetown State Forest cult. He's still serving, and you know, there's a lot of stuff to that whole case. We definitely have to do another show because of it.
I think Luann,
I don't believe he was the ringleader.
You don't believe it?
Nope. There was a woman named Robin Murphy, and I kind of dug into this case for a while and got to a point where it could be dangerous to my safety if I kept, because there are people involved with that cult who are still out there in the world who did not get convicted and did not get put in jail. But this woman, Robin Murphy, I know people that knew her as a teenager and were in her room, things like that. And her room was basically dedicated to Satanism. She was like a person that you did not mess around with. People were afraid of her. She is also serving in prison, and they did let her out on parole a few years ago. And almost immediately after being released, she was found in a drug dealer's house and put back in prison where she belongs, because from what I understand, you did what Robin Murphy told you to do, or God save you, or Satan save you in their case. But you know, that was actually taken in the Freetown, a place called Profile Rock, which unfortunately the Indian profile actually collapsed, so there is no longer a Profile Rock. But we were close to there, and that was one of my girls, Renee, that you hear talking, and it immediately answered Carl Drew. And I was a little, you know, iffy on that one because it's not that loud to be able to hear the Carl Drew. But yes, he was involved with the cult murders and the murder of 3 women and satanic rituals and the whole skull from the mausoleum incident.
Well,
so
I'm gonna play it one more time. And since like I said, like, we are going to do a whole separate show on this, so I'm not trying to cut you short.
No, I understand. I talk too much.
I really want to go into it deeper, a little farther down the line. So I'm going to play this Carl Drew one more time. Now that we know what it's saying, it might be easier to hear.
Who's Carl Drew? Did Carl Drew kill those girls?
I mean, definitely hear it now for sure. Carl Drew. So is it still going?
I don't think so.
Oh, now I'm hearing things.
I was hearing something too, and I was like, "What is?" I don't know. That was weird. You hear it
In
now?
your house. Is he stuck?
I think he is stuck.
Maybe it's entity. He's decided to go to his house.
What on earth? Now he's gone.
Yeah, I'm here.
Now he's back.
There he is.
Yeah, that's weird.
That was weird because I was hearing it too, and it kept going.
Yeah.
Let me go get my equipment. I'll be there in what?
Almost like a TV going, but I don't think either one of us have a TV going. That's weird.
No, I don't.
I don't for sure.
I think it's Restream telling us to get the F off.
Seriously, guys. We've said enough of you.
I'm tired. I want to go to bed. So I do want to do another show, but I want to do the Fall River Forest.
Yeah.
So how about we make a October special, Tuesday, October 6th. It seems like a good
October 6th, right before Halloween.
I mean, I think that'll be a good show for the month of October to get the spooky season started off on the right foot. Talk about Satanists tearing heads off bodies and stuff.
Oh boy, so gross.
Yeah, I don't know what in the world.
Totally
What's up, Courtney?
Hey, Courtney.
That's great. So what do you think? You good for that day?
It looks good right now. Oops, what am I doing? There we go, at 9 o'clock. And hopefully we won't spook your house out again.
I know, right? Or have Restream start acting up. Audio pareidolia. It's that definitely happens for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm
there are a lot of times I'll hear things that are completely different than what other people hear. Yeah, I do.
He does.
Yes.
Especially October. He likes to plan that one well.
Yes. We will have a fun October for you. Starting off with Luann Joly talking about Fall River Forest. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Luann, thank you again for coming on and bringing these pretty awesome EVPs that you captured for us. Hopefully you're able to get that drive figured out. And,
I'm going to bring it in.
Yeah.
Let the experts deal with that.
If you lose all those EVPs, I know it takes
I'll cry.
Yeah.
Oh, he's stuck again.
Figure out.
There he goes.
I'm losing connection here, so I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here now. This Thursday night, we're back on TikTok. We're talking the paranormal life of Ariel Grata.
Okay.
9:00 p.m. on the TikTok. Luann, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll be back here.
Guys.
Thanks,
Freaking awesome.
So are you. And thanks everyone in chat for joining us as well. We appreciate it. And we will see you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.